Create subinventories. Subinventories are nothing but physical or logical warehouses. So I'm going to explain you how to go about setting up subinventories in Fusion applications. So let's go to Fusion instance. First thing that you've got to do is make sure you change the functional area to manufacturing and supply chain material management. If at all you are in financials or procurement functional area, then make sure you change that to this one. Only then you will be able to see the task related to defining the subinventories. Once you have done that, then you look for this task manage subinventories and locators. And you click on that. Once you do that, the first time you log in or first time you go into the form, it will ask you for the inventory organization. So you choose the appropriate inventory organization for which you want to define the subinventories. So in my case, I have defined or I have chosen the OR underscore AKL or Orange Auckland warehouse. And in this one, I'm going to define the subinventory. So in order to define a subinventory, you simply click on this plus icon and then you start defining. You've got to also remember that every inventory organization should have one storage subinventory, and optionally it should also have one receiving subinventories if at all it is into transactions with the suppliers, or if at all it is into transaction with your customers. So that's where you will receive your goods when it comes from the customers, and if at all there are any return comes, then naturally you will receive it into a receiving area before you inspect and accept it and transfer it to your storage subinventory. Okay, so that's how it has to be. So let's start by the subinventory name. So I'm going to give it something like this: OR underscore AKL underscore storage. Okay, ST for storage. All right. Then here I'm going to write Orange Auckland supplementary, or should I write storage as well? Okay, and material status active, supplementary type is storage, and as you could see here, you've got one more called as receiving. Okay, then locator control. Locators are something like within a warehouse, you've got like racks and bins and several other places that you want to mark as with some predefined numbering. So if at all you have got that situation, you choose locator control as yes, and that's where you leverage your locator flex wheel structure. So in my case, I haven't defined any locator structure as yet, so I'm going to skip that. But in realistic scenarios, you also have locators in a subinventory. So in a separate video, I'm going to show you that functionality as well, wherein we'll make a new locator flex wheel structure. We'll define certain locators, and once we have that, then you can choose locator control as previously defined or dynamic entry or item level or none. Okay, so I'm going to skip that one for now, and I'm going to come to the right hand side, and these are several other optional um, options that you have that you can give it, but as of now I'm going to skip that and leave it to the default options. As you could see over here, you've got something called as asset subinventory and depreciable. So if at all you store assets into this subinventory, and if at all you've got installed fixed assets module, then you want to depreciate your items, then you can check this one out on as well. Okay, so I'm going to come down, and in terms of the lead times and days, you can specify that if this sub inventory is the one in which you receive items from customers, or maybe another sub inventory, that's where the lead time comes into picture. Okay, and lastly, the sourcing side of things. So if this sub inventory is the one you get your items from some other sub inventory or some other place, then you specify the type of that place, which could be an organization, a supplier, or a sub inventory. In other words, if you choose a sub-inventory, it is like sourcing from another sub-inventory. But if you give suppliers, then it means you're sourcing from suppliers. So if you specify, say, another sub-inventory, then as you could see, this sub-inventory is grayed out, but it will be enabled and it will ask you for a sub-inventory name. So this is an optional field. If you specify, then always the items will be sourced from that particular sub-inventory. And you've got a second option over here as organization. So if you choose that, this last field will be enabled to choose an organization from where you've got to source your items for this particular sub-inventory. So as of now, I'm going to leave it as blank, and this we will this we will uh, take a call while we are receiving items into this sub-inventory. So most of the time we will use the supplier to get the items into this particular sub-inventory. So you go ahead and save it. So this is a storage sub-inventory. I'm going to save and say save. I create another one. Okay, so this is saved. And then the second one is ORAKLNRCB. Okay, orange, Auckland, receiving sub. Okay, and same way you come down, you leave the material status as it is, but make sure you choose the sub-inventory type as receiving and leave the locator control as it is. And that's all you have to do. So right hand side, you don't have to worry about it now. We will visit that while we will be implementing the auto management side of things. Okay, so you got to hit the save and close button. So by that, your two sub-inventories within Auckland organization will be created. You must enter a location. Okay, so you got to have a location as well. So I'm going to choose a location here. So the location is mandatory because you have to give or tell to the system where you want to receive your items into. So here I have given a location called as AKL main warehouse. Okay, that's the location in which the items will be received into. Now I'm going to hit the save and close button. Okay, so these two sub-inventories have been created into Orange Auckland warehouse. Now I'm going to change the warehouse to Wellington warehouse and repeat the same process for another two sub-inventories in Wellington warehouse. So I'm going to click on change organization, and here I'm going to type something like WLG, hit the OK button. Let's see whether it is there. Okay, there you go. You choose this, hit the OK button, and then hit OK once again. So you'll see that the organization is changed to OR underscore WLG, which is Orange Wellington Warehouse. So the process is same. To create a new subinventory, click the plus icon and then start defining your subinventory. So OR underscore WLG underscore ST. So Orange Wellington storage, and then you have a material status. So which is active. So when type is storage and location, you give it as something like WLG. Or in fact, for storage, you don't really need a location. You can give it at the time of receiving the items. Once you're done, I think you can safely leave these items unless you want to change something. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as it is and I'm going to hit save and create another. Okay, so that was saved, and I will now create another one OR WLG underscore RCB. It's a good idea to follow a specific naming conventions. Orange, Wellington, receiving, sub-inventory. This time you make sure that you change the sub-inventory type to receiving type, and then it's going to ask the location. So here you choose location starting with WLG. So WLG main warehouse, hit the OK button. Okay, and remaining option, let it leave it as it is. We are not worried about locator control as of now. So hit the save and close button to save your changes in this particular warehouse. So as you could see now, we've got two sub inventory for Wellington warehouse as well. One is the storage sub inventory, and second one is the receiving sub inventory.